This is Wholesaling Houses Elite, the no fluff and BS podcast with tips and tricks to help you become an elite wholesaler. Our guest will spill the beans on what it takes to be the best.
This podcast is brought to you by Lead Gen Pros, making it incredibly easy for the average real estate investor and business owner to get more leads. They work with a variety of companies who specialize in real estate investing and who are looking for a systemized way to increase their lead flow and grow their business. If that sounds like you, check out theleadgenpros.com.
What's up, podcast world? It's Maxwell. Welcome to another. This one's special too. All the way from Phoenix, Arizona to small Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So this is cool. Welcome, Jamil.
Thank you for having me, Max. Appreciate it, man.
First of all, are you really doing 1,000 deals a year?
A year, yep.
Oh, but before we even go there, I'm not even going to go. I just wanted to open it up with that.
Yeah.
First of all, welcome to North Carolina.
Thank you. It's been so awesome. What a great place.
Man, it's like a small town, slower pace.
Yep.
Still got everything you need.
Trees.
Yeah,
we were joking on the plane, but like no joke. It's gorgeous. This place is just lush, beautiful. The air is clean. I mean, look, Phoenix, it's a fantastic place. And I think when people from North Carolina come to Phoenix, you appreciate the palm trees.
Oh, I love all that, yeah.
You know, all that. On the other side of that, we come here and see the trees, just the air, the vibe. It's totally different. It's special. It's a special place.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad you're here. And you have a different take on wholesaling.
Absolutely.
And before we get there, tell me how you got into the business, first of all, period.
Cool. So there was a couple of entrances. I'll begin with I was living in Canada.
Okay.
I was in a media company. My business partner in that, we were making websites before websites were like, there were still the yellow pages, right? So that's where people were going to do business. We had to actually call people and convince them to get a website.
Yeah.
This is like 2001, right? 2001, 2002.
Isn't it funny though, how fast we moved?
My gosh.
Before, like pre then and then now, like to 2019. Oh my, it's so fast.
It's that because technology is exponential.
Yeah.
Right. And so we're going to see gaps. We're going to see improvements and just how fast the goalpost moves in an exponential age is beyond. I mean, when I'm going to be marveling at the world on my deathbed. You know,
True.
And to think of what my kids and their kids are going to accomplish is amazing.
Yeah, from technology probably in the size of your hand, your palm.
Real.
Yeah. So you got in here from you were doing websites.
Right. So we're making websites, and this guy's dad is a home builder, and they're complaining his dad, drove this beautiful car and they had a beautiful house. I'm coming from nothing, and so I'm seeing this again, just always looking for opportunity. And I ask, what does your dad do? He said he builds houses. But the problem is he can't build any houses right now because they need these specific types of lots. He does infill construction. And unless he can find some 50 by 120 foot lots, building doesn't make sense because he's got to subdivide the lot, build a duplex on that one big lot. Yeah. And that's how he makes his money. The one side pays the bills, the other side is the profit. And so I asked, okay, so, what's the problem? Well, there's just none available. And so I go home, and I live in one of these neighborhoods where these duplexes are popping up, right? I rent. And, so right away I'm thinking, well, maybe my landlord wants to sell. And I'm like, well, then where will I live, right? So I'm walking my dog, and I've been seeing this for rent. I actually tried to rent the house. She wouldn't negotiate on rent price, and so I ended up in this other spot. But the same lady who I was trying to rent from still had her house for rent. And it was about the third of the month. And my brain's going, right? So I call her, and same conversation. Look, I'm not interested in renting. Actually, I might have a buyer. Can we meet and talk? We meet, talk. I find out she'll sell for $350. Well, he told me that his dad's paying $400. So my first wholesale transaction was by accident. I connected those dots. In Canada, they call it a skip transfer. It's the same double close. You can use the buyer's money to fund your A transaction. And that was my first deal. That's how I got involved in wholesaling. It was just filling a need, finding an opportunity, connecting the dots, taking a check.
So did you go for the full 400?
I got the full 400. Yeah, I got
so
the
your
full.
First
was
wholesale
50K.
check was for around 50K.
Yeah.
So what type of, were you making decent money, or was that a life-changing thing for you?
It was life-changing for me at the time, because I was like, wow, I can buy a car, I can do shit, like this is amazing. Wow, like what do I do now? And then it dried, right? It got super dry because, you know, that specific type of transaction was hard to do. But I did more. My first trick was calling for rents. For rent by owners, right? Because I was going to the newspaper to find the classifieds. That's where they were, listing for rents. There was no website where now all that information is like there, right? And that was working. I was popping off. I was making money, and then my head started getting bigger, and so then we started wholesaling apartment buildings. And that was a thing. And then I'm watching these developers do these condo conversions, and I'm like, I want to do that. So my sister and I, who's been my business partner since Jump, we started buying apartment buildings and converting them, and that's how we lost our ass.
You got caught up in the market?
In the market cycle,
yeah.
So, we're in now 2007, 2008. Banks are getting funny. The money's getting funny.
Yep.
And so funny shit happens.
Yeah, you get caught up. You get caught up in it, and there you go. You lose your shirt.
Yep.
So what brought you to Phoenix?
So I was in LA actually, doing comedy.
So you do comedy?
I did, yeah. I was
always
a comedian, yeah. So
right.
I'm my office comedian. I'm my comedian dad. I tell the dad jokes. My daughter doesn't appreciate me as much as her friends.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but in any event, so I'm in LA doing comedy, loving it. But again, that's not like a career unless you're Kevin Hart or
Eddie Murphy
or whatever brown dude might make it, right? So
there goes your comedy coming out right now.
Right.
Keep going.
So I'm in there. I'm making some money, and I'm placing money in Phoenix because what I realized I could do is I could buy a condo in Phoenix for $25,000. Before this is like the crash, right?
Yeah.
This is it's just a crash scene. Everything's a crash scene. I look at Phoenix, it's like, that's bad. But that condo's dope. And that's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath with granite countertops, hardwood floors.
$25,000.
Built in 2004 that I can buy for $25K and I can rent for $800 a month. And so now I'm living in Los Angeles where rent's like stupid.
Yeah.
And I realize if I just buy enough of these condos, I can pay for my life here, and all is well. Now, doing that, I put some contracts out. I was writing contracts on short sales. Some were getting approved. Some that I kind of wanted were getting approved. And then all of a sudden I realized I have more property approved than I have funds for. Correct. Or that I have intent, to really want, right? So I go on Craigslist. And I knew this process because I'd done it in Canada. I didn't know the mechanics of how it was going to work here in the States, right? But I knew that, okay, if I put this out there, we'll figure out the money later.
Correct.
But I'm going to just put these 2 houses that I have under contract on Craigslist and see what happens. I'm going to mark them up $10,000 each, and I'll see what's up. I get a call from a gentleman by the name of Tim Wynn, who's a wholesaler in Phoenix. Great dude, him and his partner. And he says, I like these 2 houses. I drove by them. I'll take them. And it was like really that easy. And in my head, I thought, this has got to be a scam. It's Craigslist. Like, you don't go to Craigslist to buy houses. You go to trade a lawnmower
for some weight bench. A weight bench.
Right. Some dumb right. So I'm suspect, but again, this guy sounds knowledgeable. He's got, and I asked him, what would the mechanics look like? And he describes them to me, and it makes sense. And what do I have to lose but my contract, right?
That's it.
All that happens is we don't close. And it unravels, and I'm in LA, and this guy's in Phoenix, and he's a weirdo, and I'm a weirdo, and that's that, right? It closes. After closing costs, I have like $18,000 coming to me. The guy says, drive out here and hang out with me for a week, and you might decide this is the spot for you, right? So I do. I go out, get my 18 racks. I hang out in Phoenix for a little bit. This guy he's so gracious. He drives me around town. He's showing me what he's got going on and like how much money he's making on every house. And I'm doing the math, right? So we're there, and I realize that today he just showed me how he's going to make $50,000, right? In the day. I spent a week with this cat. So this is right before my birthday. This is 2012. On 12/12/12, that's my birthday. I pack up a U-Haul. I tell my family I'm moving to Phoenix because comedy's great, but this is how we're coming back.
Yeah.
And that was that.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you got in there, and that's a crazy story. So you moved to Phoenix. You start doing traditional wholesale deals.
Traditional wholesale. 2012. I enter in the space like that. I have this gentleman's help. And then, the community hadn't really established itself. There was the old guard at that time.
It wasn't Guru Capital.
It wasn't good. Well, Cody was around. Sean was around. I hadn't known them yet. They had absolutely no idea who I was at the time, right?
Yeah.
So I was just doing stuff behind the scenes. And we were talking about that a little bit earlier, but I did a lot of that behind the scene movement for a good minute.
You stayed under the radar for a reason.
On purpose. I think for me, what was important was the business not being known, right? I always felt like mystery sells.
100%.
Right? Mystery is what makes people intrigued. I could just be a dude with some money buying homes, or I could be a dude with some money who doesn't want anybody to know he's buying homes.
Correct.
What do you want to spend your attention on?
Correct.
In those two phrases, right?
I love that.
And so I chose that path. I decided I'm going to hang around in the back, and I literally have had my head down in that same space, in that same way for years. I looked up, we built Keegley. You're around, Brent's around, the machine's here. I'm like, whoa.
Wait, I've been here since 2012.
Well, I've been doing it, right? And I just see this community all of a sudden, right? And I decided at that point, all right, I exist. I'm gonna come out of the shadow and
Superman's
just say,
gonna take off his
just say, just do his thing, right?
Like, hey, I'm Superman, guys.
Yeah. He happens to be Indian.
Wait, Superman's the Indian dude?
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna break the internet with that one.
You built Keegley, but there's a lot in between you getting there in 2012 and you building Keegley.
Absolutely.
Keegley is not a traditional what we call wholesale company, probably.
Not at all.
Break that down, and before you break it down, what made you go that way?
So I love it, man. Those are amazing questions. So I'm in this space now. It's 2012. I'm doing deals, right? I'm finding buyers in the weirdest ways. Like I get a deal under contract, and then I go to Craigslist. I'm literally just cutting grass the wrong way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything is hard. I've got some help by these two gentlemen, Tim and Mike. But it's going uphill. The banks start changing the rules. Now all of a sudden you can't double escrow a short sale. Now all of a sudden, they're not accepting assignments. They want a letter from the bank, not a hard money. Like, it's just everything's changing. Luckily, I was making money so I could evolve with the bank rules and not really have to worry so much about that. Mm-hmm. I get through that portion, and what I start understanding is you really can't make money at this with a stack of contracts, right? And so I had realized I had to align myself with dispositions.
The money.
Quick, right? And so prior to Keegley, I was working, with some folks that were helping me do dispositions. The issues that I was always having was I wanted to be a part of it, right? Mm-hmm. If I don't have control, if I don't have a voice or a say in what's happening, it's very difficult. You're still working in someone else's machine. You're
Correct.
Still working in someone else's head.
Makes
right?
sense.
And so, I came to meet my partners, Josiah, Hunter. My sister has always been a partner with me, so her and I came into the space together. And these were just two young cats with so much knowledge and
mm-hmm.
ambition and know-how, right? I realized I had a lot going on in my head and no systems.
Yeah.
They realized that they could systematize a lot of what was going on in my head. And so we spent, the first little while just really extracting.
Building out those SOPs.
Yeah. Building them out. Like, what do you do from the minute you wake up? Mm-hmm. And how does this all look? Like, how do you handle your phone? Mm-hmm. What's that relationship? Because you have a relationship with your tools.
Yep.
Right? Now, let's take that relationship and see if we can replicate it.
Yeah.
And if we can replicate it, then we can teach it.
Yep.
And if what you do can be taught, then we can make another one.
Then we can scale.
We stack them.
Just scale.
Yes.
So essentially what Keegley is you guys saying, we'll just become the disposition house to all these guys out here that are getting contracts.
Correct.
We are aligned with the buyers. We know them left and right. We know what they want. We know how they like it. And we've perfected selling these deals, these off-market deals, these distressed properties to investors.
Yes, sir.
And you just became great at it.
Yes, sir.
Genius. So you was zigging while other people were zagging.
I think what was going on is we started when Keegley began. We were like, doing the same thing. We were doing some mail. We did some PPC. We were trying, right, to kind of compete in the traditional advertising spaces. Now, remember, I'm coming in to this space being the mystery guy, right? But I have deals. I've got stuff coming to me that's different from what other folks are doing, right? So we're making money selling that stuff, but how do we compete in the real space? Like, how do we compete in that direct to seller space? What do we do there? So we do some ads, but we realize showing up to these appointments, and there's Carlos, there's Brent's guys, Brent, like we're all showing up to these Sean's guys, my Mike and Tim, my old buddies, right? Who taught me. We're all here. We're all just hanging out. Like someone should have brought a food truck because
now we're gonna be here hungry.
Yeah, and like this is stupid. And these people all had us come at noon, and like this is funny, right? It's funny to me. It's funny to them. Everybody's like, well, now you're starting to collude. Now because we're all friends, everybody's like, how do we all just show up to the same spot, still buy the house, still make money, and then one guy's like, and then does his own thing, and that ends that plan, right? So seeing that, knowing that when you're in a crowd, you don't stand out. You can't, you cannot stand out. And it's very difficult, right?
Yeah.
We're, I have a great friend in Phoenix, Arizona, Pace Morby, like great guy.
Dude,
yeah,
I'll tell you a story about him. But
he's
that's
a phenom,
crazy.
right? So funny thing about him, like he was a general contractor. He met me prior to ever becoming a wholesaler. He says, one day he's like, meet me for lunch. We have lunch. We talk about, his business model, what's going on. He's getting kind of wrapped up in some shenanigans in the contracting. I tell him, make a shift, get out, sell that, cut your losses, get into wholesale. A few years later, this guy's crushing it. So, guys like him, they will move a seller, right? He's got a cube van, or he'll rent one, right? A U-Haul, whatever. He'll have dudes come in, pack up the seller, move them to Utah, okay? Meanwhile, that's not stuff I'm willing to do.
Yeah.
I can't. Like,
Can't compete with that.
You can't. You cannot compete with that. Let those guys who want to do the service, do the service.
So all he's doing is he's turning down a $35,000 wholesale fee and making $30,000.
Yes, but he knows, right?
He's solving more problems than you can solve.
And I love that because guys like him deserve to be on that side of the street because they have the heart for it. It's like the doctor who goes to be a doctor because he wants money. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
That guy doesn't belong in a doctor's office.
Correct.
He doesn't deserve that jacket.
Correct.
Right? The person who's there to save lives deserves that.
Correct.
When guys like him show up to sell appointments and they're buying houses and they're doing great and they're solving problems and they're helping humans, they deserve to be there. Now, what I need to do is service Pace. I got to help Pace make good on that contract.
Correct.
Right? I got to help him because look.
Because now you're solving Pace's problem.
Yes.
And he just solved so many problems.
Yes.
So because you're solving his problem, you're going to get paid in there somewhere.
Always. And you think he has any trouble with me making money? No.
Hell no.
He's like, bro, thank you so much for taking this headache off of my life. So I can go solve more problems and talk to more people, because for him, like you got on your shirt, he loves talking to people. He loves being with sellers.
Yeah.
He loves like talking to old ladies and solving their problems and drinking tea with them. He loves it. Dude, him and Laura, they'll bring Corbin. She's my goddaughters. They will bring her to the appointments, and these sellers are falling in love with the baby. And, she's like, Laura's hanging out, and Pace is hanging out, and he's on his Instagram, and they're signing contracts, and it's like, dope.
Yeah.
Everybody felt good. Everybody feels good there. When you're coming in and you're stressed out because you're like 30 racks in PPC, and you need this contract, and you're desperate, and everything about your energy is low, you walk into that sale appointment, and you walk out of that sale appointment with the same papers you walked in with no ink.
No ink on it.
No ink.
Worth no money.
Yep.
So, man, this is amazing, man. And I love I love what you're doing. And I've watched and I've heard about you, and I'm like, somebody said, I think the first time was like somebody's doing 1,000 deals. I'm like, what? Somebody's lying, right? Because we know this business is full of cap, right?
Yep.
A bunch of people lying about how many deals they do.
Dude.
But everybody I talk to, like, no, he's real. He probably sold like 12 of mine. No, he sold like 50 of mine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know,
We sold 8 yesterday, right? While I'm on the plane, Brent and I are,
8 deals.
8 deals, and I'm looking at my Slack, and teams going ham selling houses. Shout out to Walker, bro. You're the best. He like legit sold 8 houses yesterday, right? And so, I mean,
So you're just solving.
Solved 8 problems.
But you're solving problems of people who are solving problems.
Yes, sir.
Like you're in the business of, it's just crazy.
It's a, it's a beautiful thing to be appreciated by folks who are looking at the world from a point of view of like everybody's out to get me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the beautiful thing that we have in Phoenix is the camaraderie, right? The community. Yeah. You saw it when you came to town. Mm-hmm. When we came to the event.
Yep, loved it. All you guys were together.
We came to support Steve. Support you. Yep. Be there. Show love. Like, this is big. This is great. Like, Steve's on the stage. You're on the stage. We got Gary V in the house. Like, your event, by the way, dude. Anybody listening to this, he's got another one coming up in Atlanta.
It's like a family reunion, man.
It's beyond that, though. I hadn't seen so many power hitters in one ballroom as I have seen at your event. There were guys in there just
doing millions.
Straight fire, just doing millions, sitting in like the back corner, taking notes, right? But homie's got like $2 million in the bank. Yeah. Like, no shit. This is real.
And I think that's the difference, not to go off on the event, but I try to build something different because I think
you 100% have.
Yeah, I think because of the the meeting, like when we have the networking event, during that event, it's like, a few hours of people just chilling.
Yep.
Everybody's guard is down. We're just all talking real estate. There's 1,200 people in there talking real estate.
It's amazing.
This is just crazy, but yeah, keep going. Sorry, I hate to bring it up.
No, it's good. So that situations like that event, right, where you're there, you get to see that. But then I also saw in other markets just the amount of like that guy, that girl, right. But why? You come to Phoenix like you saw when you were there. Everybody's eating, loving each other, right? We all go to lunch together. We hang out, dude. Like. So some like Jesse Burrell, Evo, Brent Daniels, myself, Sean, his team, heavy hitter galore, sitting there. We'll all break bread, we'll all make bread,
break bread and make bread,
and nobody has their hands or eyes on each other in a negative way. It's positive. That's the community, though.
But you guys have built that over the time, and that's why people say, man, every wholesaler's in Phoenix. But you guys have built that community of people that matter. You guys are like the barometer of being able to tell when people are out there lying.
Sure.
Of like, oh yeah, he says he's doing X amount of deals. No, he's not.
Right.
No, he's not. He can't be.
Yep.
Because I ain't seeing him. These guys
aren't hearing about him. Yep.
He's lying.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's cool, and we're trying to build the same thing in North Carolina, the group, and the Carolinas and the South and stuff like that. So, eventually we'll become like you guys out there in Phoenix, man.
I love it
because there's enough for everybody. I've been asking this question here recently. Illinois passed a law.
Yes. I have opinions.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. That you have to be a licensed agent in order to obtain a contract and even wholesale a deal, or it seems like they're going after even flippers at this point.
Right.
What are your thoughts on it?
Well, so my thoughts are going to be a little controversial. I don't think it's terrible.
I don't either.
I think actually there should be a level of knowledge. Training programs are awesome, right? There's a lot of them out there. If they're covering basic law, contract law, and understanding, that's great. So this answer is going to be a couple parts.
No, that's cool.
So I think that if the real estate course was teaching the information to the people getting licensed about how to do deals legally, how to understand contracts, how to actually transact and like be be true fiduciaries or be like agents, proper agents out there and teaching them about the business, then yes, make them licensed. But you know what we got to do? So Keegley's, everybody at Keegley's licensed except for me. Mm-hmm. I'm one of the owners, right? So that law would require me to go get a license. I would do it, all right? The problem is that when I send my staff out to get licensed, I have to train them when they come home.
Because the training is outdated.
Outdated and completely unrelated. Unrelated to how the transactions teach them about title and escrow. Teach them about cure periods. Teach them about the different line items in the contract. Understand the clauses. Show a traditional seller how a traditional buyer can cancel the contract 3 days prior to close when their U-Haul is packed.
Yep.
And they're waiting for their check so they can pick up their keys, and how that bomb goes off.
Yep.
Show them how that looks. Show them the red flags. Teach them that.
Teach them all the negative stuff.
Look, I think it's great if we update the education. If you're going to keep the education the same poor ass standard that it is right now, what's the point?
Correct. I think there's a couple things. Like one, I think that because we're a common law country and we can inherit equitable interest on a contract between two adults, I think once you get government involved in that, you start to, what else can they get involved in?
I agree with that too.
So it's more of when does it stop?
Right.
Like
infringing on my rights as a business person.
Yeah, just like now I have to get this to make this money when it's been working great for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Like wholesaling is not new. I know it might be new to some of you listening, but people that have been doing this before you even have a name.
100%. I didn't have a name for it when I did it over there, right? That was just like figuring out dots, right?
Yeah.
You connect dots. You don't think that some dude wholesaled a cave to another caveman for like some fish and a couple chicks?
Exactly.
100% it happened.
So I personally think it's a slippery slope, but I think it's something that us investors have to come together and create something, because if not, then all the states are going to start adopting some type of piece of this law. And banks do it. Banks buy assets
on a large scale
and sell them without actually. Do they have to do it? Sometimes the name's not even a title before they're selling it.
Yep.
So I think it's a slippery slope for whatever legislator wants to go in and create that. But
how do you combat that?
Well, there's no case law so far, so
Right.
Somebody's got to take it to the Supreme Court.
Somebody with a voice.
Yeah, somebody with a voice and strike it down, or
Yep.
see what case law happens, because if not, we're giving them a free for all to do whatever they want to do.
Yep.
But I start to think that some larger investors need to start thinking about how this can impact what it's wholesaling now. What is it tomorrow? Are they going to make you get a license to be able to flip properties?
Right.
Are you going to have to do all this just to get you're going to have to be a licensed agent to invest your own money? Do you have to be a stockbroker to invest in the stocks?
No,
Is that coming?
It should, if that's the line of thinking.
That's what I'm saying. So people need to start saying, well, I'm glad they're cleaning up the wholesale community. Yeah, but as a former agent, people don't know how many people lose their license every day.
Right.
Like, just because you go get a license doesn't mean you're going to not be a bad person.
And does cleaning up the wholesale community equate to 9 hours of crash coursing and practice tests and all the stuff that you fake to learn? Does that clean you up?
Negative.
No.
Not at all.
No.
So I think there's a big conversation to have about it, and I think maybe it might be part of our wholesaling Elite 2020 panel.
Awesome.
Maybe we just get some large wholesalers together. We record a video on a panel on it and talk about it. Or maybe we just maybe the top 10 guys, whatever those are, we have a $100 conversation.
Yeah.
Where people could come to an auditorium and have us debate and talk about what we need to do.
I'm there.
You know what I mean? Because it's an interest for everybody involved in real estate investing, period. What's next? Is some type of association going to go after how we make money as investors?
And why are they allowing a private association to even come in and create legislation?
because if more people are licensed, it's more likely that more people are going to join the realtor association
And
they get more fees. So there's money tied to it, and listen, we can go on and on for this forever, but we can do this on a bigger scale, so this conversation happens in the open.
I love it.
So that we start really, really digging into that and making sure that, you know, it doesn't spread. And it could be wholesalers today, it could be flippers in general tomorrow.
Yep.
You know?
So what? All of a sudden now, when you buy your house, to say you're going to live in it, and you know, random, like I'm in the middle of a build right now, right? And you know, my wife's going to hate this, but every time I look at the house, I'm like, oh my God, we can sell this for so much money, right? Every time I get to that house, I'm like, we can sell this for so much money.
I can make so much
We
profit.
can make so much profit. We can take the profit, buy a house, and not, you know what I mean? Like this is the way my mind's working, right? Different from your family, the way that your dad mind thinks or your husband mind thinks, right? But with that said, if I change my mind and I sell it and I reap a profit, now did that require me to get licensed? No. Because I've changed my mind? Come on, get real.
But think about this, and I think this impacts our community a lot, and it's not just black and brown people, but anybody that has made a mistake when they were younger.
Right.
What if you were 18 years old? And,
I have.
And you made a mistake and you're a felon. Let's just say you had 3 DUIs. Now you're a convicted felon.
Right.
Let's just say you were dumb. You were with some friends and they held up a gas station and you're a felon. At this path of real estate investing, you don't need to be licensed. You can correct your past by showing a bright future of going out and doing things. You can't get licensed in that manner.
Right.
There's some states that have laws where if you're a convicted felon, you can't get licensed. Can't get a license.
Yep.
Is that what we're stopping? What is the big picture here?
Is there an ulterior motive to keep folks that could have been
look like me?
Right.
So there's a bigger picture to this, and I think if we don't stop it now, then this is going to go crazy. It's just going to be in everything. Maybe I can't invest in stocks in 10 years because I'm not a licensed Series 6 guy or something. I don't know.
Then the economy collapses. Like, look, America needs employees to invest their money in the stock market for it to exist.
But think about this. So do you have a self-directed IRA?
Yeah, I do actually.
Okay, so do you know that Congress is trying to attack the self-directed IRAs because too much money, we're putting away too much money on a tax-free basis? So are they moving to where they're saying, well, in order to invest, you need to have a license, you got to go through this brokerage?
Right. To just make the obstacles hard. It's like what they do with voting, right? It's if the obstacles are there great enough, then enough people fall. Look, it's hard enough to get up and be an entrepreneur.
Period.
Right? Now, there's so many obstacles in the mind that a person has to overcome. And now you're putting physical ones in front of me? Come on.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting conversation. I think that idea we just came up with, needs to happen.
I agree.
We'll figure it out. But
cool.
But back to like where you are. Are you in multiple
We are.
Multiple states?
We're in multiple states.
So you've truly repeated this process.
We have, yeah. And we actually manage it, funny enough, all from Phoenix. So we have boots on the ground in every virtual market that we're in, but we run the relationships, all of that. We do touch down in we touch down in those markets. We make sure people put eyes on us. We put eyes on them. The beauty of what's happened to the company over the last 2 years with the success, and just you become something when you generate that much traffic, when you generate that many deals. When that happens, Brent's knocking at your door. I'm gonna get to sit here with you, which is amazing, right? These things happen. That has also allowed us to grow more and more and more and more, right? So
plus you're trusted amongst some of the biggest wholesalers in the country,
because we don't do shady stuff.
Yeah,
right. The foundation of Keegley, and this is a true thing. Our staff, they'll call me out on it if it wasn't. But when they come in, their like employee handbook, first thing that says that Keegley's built on a foundation of love, right? We got folks, we're on the Real Estate Disruptors Tour. When guys come in to do Steve's show, they take a stop at Keegley to see, meet us, see the operation. It's been described to me multiple times that our office reminds people of a mashup between Boiler Room and the Ellen Show. Because it's like you got the hustle of Boiler Room and you got the dancing love of Ellen, right? Yeah. And it's like a lot of everybody in our company, well, not I hate using big sweeping statements. A lot of the people in my company are people of faith.
Yeah.
We have faith.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever that faith may be.
Correct.
And that is powerful, right? That's powerful when you can bring that many people who have faith, who can and are trying to do something positive. Then shady stuff doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're not ever trying to hurt a person we're trying to do business with. We want to elevate.
Correct. And I think there's just that's just being an ethical person, period. Having integrity.
Absolutely.
And I learned that at 17 when I was in the Air Force. You know, integrity is one of the big core values. And I think everybody in life, you need core values that you stick by no matter what situation you're in.
Absolutely.
Period. You just create these core values for yourself, for your company, and always check those 3 or 4 core values every time you make a decision. And if it passed that sniff test, move forward. You know, I think that's cool. So have you been active on social? Are you active on YouTube now? What's going on?
Just starting.
Okay.
Right? So because, you know, I had to take a break, right?
Yeah.
Now Keegley kind of runs. I do come in and do high level stuff and, you know, meet with the team and do that, but it's going, right? So yes, I'm on social on Instagram at JDamji, JDAMJI.
Okay.
But we're about to put out a web series. I think you're going to be one of my first guests on it. So we're just going to chronicle, you know, from heavy hitters to like noobs, they're worse than their first, right? Because it's a lot like relationships, right? So I want to talk about like what are the hangups? What are the things that are going on in the world of what we do that are hard? Let's get those out of the way so that other people who are thinking about doing this can get that fear of all the crap that could happen, and we're going to show it in a fun way. So we're going to talk about the worst, the first, and then we're going to do little comedic reenactments of all of it, which I think is going to be fun. Fun. I can't wait to see what your episode looks like.
That's going to be funny. That's going to be real interesting.
Yep.
So
that'll be on YouTube.
Oh, that'd be good. Okay, so we'll look out for that, and when it does come out, we'll put it in the show notes whenever this happens.
Awesome.
When you're in different cities, different states.
Yes.
Can any wholesaler contact you in those cities?
Yes.
What cities are you in now?
So currently we're in Phoenix, Tucson, Tampa, Orlando. We're in Vegas. We're in Salt Lake City, Dallas, Houston.
So you're
covering popping in Texas right now.
Okay.
So Houston guys, Dallas guys, hit us up.
So wholesaler gets a deal on a contract. They supposed to hit you up right away. Look.
Yeah. Stop. Look, here's the hard part.
Stop waiting all the way to the end,
Start
right?
waiting till, like, you come to us you have 1 day left or 3 hours left in your inspection period, and you're like, Keegley, help. No, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, look, we want to maximize the deal, right? We want to maximize the money in the deal. And how do we do that? By having time, right? Give us a little bit of time. I usually know how we're going to do in a deal within the first 72 hours. Right? So give us our 72 hours. Let us get you more money. You don't lose money by working with us. You gain more.
Yeah.
You gain more because you share a little bit, but we're going to sell for more than what it was going to sell for in your world, right? If you're new, you're like you had mentioned earlier, you're tired of seeing these guys busting their butts out there for a $2,000 check, and they're posting it on social, and they're in your group, and they're just loving life, and all glory to God. I got my first, and look, yes, you're right.
Exactly.
It's glory to God they got that $2,000, but there could have been another zero, bro.
You just don't know what your value is.
You don't know what you're worth.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're doing that. So all those markets. What is the perfect scenario? Somebody gets to something under contract. They have pictures.
Yep. And actually, the perfect scenario is get with us early. If you're new or not new or you're in it, let's chat about, because we do this service for a lot of folks. We provide a Keegley buy number. So if you want to backstop and just know, I've sold the deal, we'll give you that price. We'll give you what you should put it under contract at. We'll tell you what we can sell it for. This is ammunition.
100%.
You walk
confidence.
you walk into a seller appointment and you know what I need to buy it at, what Keegley will buy it at, and what they think they can sell it for.
That's the other side of not being an entrepreneur. You don't have to be an entrepreneur to be in this business to be successful.
No.
Right? People that not everybody wants to build a company with 100 employees. Not everybody wants to be in 13, 12, 15 states. You just want to know, listen, I can make an extra $250,000 a year by solving problems, and Keegley is going to be my backstop.
A perfect example of that is 1 year ago, Pace Morby had no deals. The person he was working from stole all his money. He is at zero. Okay? He comes into the business, starts having conversations, starts doing things, starts trading hands, starts getting deals from here, moving them there. Like, he's literally hustling. Look, the beauty of it is the dude who stole all his money, okay, he now has taken that guy's business.
All of it.
And he runs it as like him and his wife, a couple, like he's got Cody, he's got Anna, they're great. Like and that's all he wants. He has said it to me so many times, dude, I could never do what you do. How do you manage all those people? How do you handle all that infrastructure? Like, that is a lot of moving parts. I'm happy with the $100,000 I make a month, which, guys, this
$100,000 a month. You kidding me?
Who's not happy with $100,000 a month? Who's not happy with like a solid 10?
Exactly. I'm gonna tell you the statistic is I think it's over 40% of Americans make less than $40,000 a year.
That is hard, dude.
It's tough.
That is hard.
Tough. So I spend more than $40,000 a month. So I can imagine.
We're getting there.
Yeah. It's just crazy. So I'm talking about personally.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I didn't mean the company. The company spends way more money than that.
Yeah, personally.
Yeah, sorry, Nat.
So, so man, I'm glad you've came out and spoken a different side of the business and you're helping people solve problems that are solving problems. You're like the guy that's helping the doctor do surgery or save lives. You're the backside of you're the backbone of the doctor that's in the trauma room.
100%.
Right. So you're appreciated all across the country.
Thank you.
We think like-minded. You come from, it looks like immigrant families. You're Indian, right? So
Indian,
you just have this, there's a lot of Indians in Jamaica, right?
Yeah.
So I'm from Jamaica. So there's
Nice.
a bunch of.
Nice. So you love my food.
Yeah.
Well,
My grandpa's from Calcutta, India. So
awesome, bro.
It's just like, so it's just, we just got this mind going. I'm honored to have you here, man.
I'm honored to be here. You are, you're an inspiring guy, man.
Thank you, man.
The energy that surrounds you and that follows you resonates with people.
Thanks, man.
Right. I see how you move, and it's inspiring to me. It's inspiring to so many folks in Phoenix.
Yeah.
The guy sitting in his room right now, hopeless, listening to Maxwell because you inspire him, might get out of bed today. From listening to me, go find a Zillow for rent ad, might take his cell phone out of his backpack, make a call, get a contract, call Keegley and sell the deal, and that might happen.
100%. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. Matter of fact, the person that's laying in their bed right now,
that's
gonna go out and go do something, and you're gonna go get that deal. Contact me or Jamil, and then tell us your story.
Please,
because it happens every day. I see the checks, and listen, if you can do it, if I can do it, why can't you do it?
100%.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just too easy.
Yeah.
It's too easy. And it just takes dedication. You got to be willing to do what other people won't. And I don't care if you work a 9 to 5. I don't care if you work a 12 to 12. I don't care what you work. There's enough time in the day to build your own dream. Because if you don't, somebody's going to pay you to build theirs.
What did your parents do?
My mom is a CNA.
Yep.
So she works in nursing homes.
Okay.
And my dad was in computer something.
So unrelated to like your life.
Oh yeah, I didn't come from a family that had anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I I traveled young. I joined the military at 17.
Okay.
So traveling allowed me to see what else was out there.
Right.
It allowed me to see. It allowed me to be grateful for what I did have, but it also showed me what I did not even know was possible.
Right.
So traveling is the key to success. I was just speaking with my intern yesterday when we were traveling back from Nashville, and I was like, "Listen, traveling is the key to opening your mind. It's not just period, just opening your mind." So when you do get some, and that's why I spend a lot of money on is travel.
Yeah.
I travel a lot.
And may the Lord bless you to travel for days and days and years and years.
Exactly, man.
That's the thing.
So drop your IG again.
So it's at JDAMJI. At JDamG. Follow me on Instagram. I'd love to hear from you. DM me. I actually respond.
Yeah.
So, like when people DM me, because I'm not super big in
Just
the shadows.
wait.
But yeah, hit me up with a DM. Ask me questions. I give free advice. I'll tell you anything I can possibly tell you. We got a coaching program, Astro Flipping, for any of you guys that kind of want to learn how Keegley does their model.
Do it.
How we build our dispositions. We'd love to, train you, show you, teach you. Yeah. And watch our show.
And not only that, just like allow him to sell your deals.
Yeah.
Just
please.
go get the contract.
And come to Keegley. All roads lead to Keegley. It's a thing. It's an absolute thing. We've got people all across the country saying it because it's a real thing, right? Look, does that make us Rome? Because that's where that saying came from, right? All roads lead to Rome. Yeah, possibly. Did Rome fall? Well, no, because Rome's there.
Still there.
Rome is still there. Okay, Keegley isn't going anywhere. It's taking exactly its spot in the world, in the consciousness of what wholesale real estate is. We're a support. We're there to love you. We're there to love the seller. We're there to solve problems, sell your deals, and
Make sure it happens. I love this.
I want to give you this hat, Max, because this is it's a prized thing around town.
Let me adjust it to my fat head. I know I'm on the last.
You got the you got the Keegley hat and TTP. We love Brent Daniels. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate this. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
I love this. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, do me a favor. Do me one favor. Subscribe, hit the bell so you get the notifications. Leave a comment about your favorite thing that Jamil had to say, that I had to say. And if you're on podcast land, leave a 5-star review. Leave a comment. That's all I ask of you. Don't send me any money. Don't send me any gifts. Just leave me a rating and subscribe. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the other side. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Wholesaling Houses Elite podcast with Maxwell. Make sure to tune in next week to see what elite wholesaler will have in the hot seat.